Hi, welcome to Budget MTG Decks. All magic fun, all cards under $1. I'm David.
I'm Stefan.
And today we're going to be evaluating all the green cards in Guilds of Ravnica.
Can you trade them for limited, like draft or sealed, like your upcoming Prerelease, where you get 5 normal boosters and 1 seeded booster of the guild of your choice.
Exactly, and we're going to be evaluating these cards according to our 3-tiered system. Tier 1, these are our awesome, super powerful cards. They basically force us into a color. Tier 2, these are auto-inclusive. We're already in that color, otherwise multiples of these force us into that color. Tier 3 are our filler cards. Make sure we got a nice, even mana distribution. And the rest of the cards are either too bad or too situational, so we're going to put those aside. So now, let's get started with the common cards.
Let's start the green off with Prey Upon. 1 green, sorcery, target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. And that means that they both deal damage to each other. And in green, that's the best removal you can have. So tier 2, I always want to play this if I'm in green.
Yeah, remember that it is still conditional removal because the condition is that you actually have a good creature that you can use to fight with.
Yeah.
But still, you're green, so you should have that.
Exactly, yeah, because green will have more bigger creatures anyways.
Exactly. Portcullis Vine for 1 green mana is next. It is a 0/3 plant wall defender. And for 2, untapping it and sacrificing a creature with defender, so that could be itself, we're going to draw a card. Now, once again, we've talked about this already. These 0-powered creatures, these defenders, they're not going to be helping us much in limited. And even the fact that it can come in early, block, and then later on replace itself made us doubt whether it is actually a filler card. But in the end, I still think it doesn't warrant the fact that it's taking up a slot for something that might be much better. So we're going to put that card aside.
Because it doesn't do it immediately, and that's what's really bad about this. Everything is really bad about this one, but still, just put it aside. Urban Utopia, 1 and a green. It's a enchantment aura, enchant land, and when Urban Utopia enters the battlefield, draw a card. An enchant land has tap, add 1 mana, any color. It's not mana ramping, but it is color fixing you, which is also really important in this set because you'll most likely be playing 3 colors, and it replaces itself, so that's actually not that bad to begin with. Tier 3, I think it's a good filler card.
Absolutely, yeah, happy to play that. Iron Shell Beetle is next for 1 and a green. It is a 1/1 insect, and when it enters the battlefield, we're going to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. We've had this effect before, and it is actually really strong. Why? Because it does one of 2 things. Either early on turn 2, it comes in as a 2/2, so it's fine. You know, that's right on curve. Or late game, it comes in, it's a chump blocker, and it gives one of your creatures with evasion or your bomb an extra +1/+1 counter to make it even more of a threat. So that's pulling really good duty. Still filler though, not auto-include, but I think very high on the filler scale.
Yeah, because you still have the 1 mana to chump, the 1 body to jump with it, and then it's still pumping something else. I'm happy with that. Death Karin Dissident. 1 and a green, it's a 2/2 elf warrior, and 4 and a green, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So for 5 mana, it gets bigger, and for 2 mana, it's a 2/2 for 2. So I'm happy with that. Tier 3, good filler, and a mana sink.
Yeah, once again, it's good early, because it's just a 2/2 for 2, but later in the game, it can actually be a 4/4. Maybe even more, maybe not, but still.
Probably the biggest thing will be, is a 4/4.
Yeah, and as Stefan already explained with these cards before, is that you can also just attack with it, leave the mana open as a threat. People think, oh, I'm not going to block because I'm going to lose my stuff, and then in the end, you don't you just got in for 2 damage, you use your mana for something else. Very nice. Crushing Canopy is next for 2 and a green, so for 3 mana, it's an instant that allows us to either destroy target creature with flying or destroy target enchantment. Yes, there are some bombs that have flying, but the problem is that it's just too situational, and this is a perfect card which you're going to put aside in your sideboard, which is all the cards that you're going to be opening. And should a person going heavy flyers, should somebody be heavy on champions, you can always sideboard it in. But in your main deck, please just put it aside. Don't include it.
I guess white it would be really nice because they have the enchantment removal and they have the flyers. Huawei Okapi, 2 and a green, it's a 3/2 antelope with vigilance. Tier 3, it has the power for 3 mana and vigilance, so that's really nice.
It's just very basic, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's a very copy.
Yeah. Then we have Pax Favor for 2 and a green. So for 3 mana, it's an instant, and it's going to give target creature +3/+3 until the end of turn, and it also has Convoke. Now, I love this as a combat trick, 'cause that's indeed what it is. The +3/+3 may seem a bit overcosted because it costs 3 mana. However, the Convoke means we're almost always going to be able to cast it for less, and maybe even for free, as a really huge surprise to people who thought that we were not able to play combat tricks because we had no mana open. So that really means that I definitely like including this as one of my combat tricks.
Yeah, that's really important, because when you block, you can still tap those 3 creatures to get this for free. And that's what I really like about this one.
Yeah.
Hitchclaw Recluse, 2 and a green. It's a 1/4 spider with reach. It's so much toughness, it will survive nearly anything in the air. So I think it's always really important to have in your green, because games will be won with the flyers, and with this one you can block all of them. And you can block your small ground creatures also.
Yeah, exactly. It's not as crucial as, for example, a Giant Spider would have been, because Giant Spider has 2 power, and that means that it's also actually going to be killing those flyers, so that really stops people from attacking with flyers. But still, this is a decent inclusion.
It is so good, because you still need to survive against all these flyers.
Yeah. Pause for Reflection costs 2 and a green, so for 3 mana it's an instant, and it prevents all combat damage that will be dealt this turn. It also has Convokes, potentially casting it for free. So you may think, well, there's nothing wrong with that. We can maybe fog a turn for free, but the problem is that it still takes up a card slot in our deck, and I think that just fogging doesn't change the battlefield situation. If they were able to attack you and they were going to kill you, and you fogged, next turn, you're not in a better situation than you were before, so that's why we put this card aside.
Generous Stray, 2 and a green. It's a 1/2 cat, and when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. It replaces itself, but for 3 mana, the body is really bad, and that's why I want to put it aside, because with the other one, with the beetle, you still pump something else up, and that's really relevant. This one, it's not relevant at all.
No, not at all. Wild Ceratok costs 3 and a green, so for 4 mana, it is a 4/3 vanilla Rhino. Solid filler card. As with a lot of these green cards, they're just okay, they're solid, but nothing too exciting as of yet.
Qual Foragers, 4 and a green, a 4/4 Insect Scout. That's actually pretty decent. And when he enters battlefield, it is Undergrowth, and when he enters battlefield, you gain 1 life for each creature card in your graveyard. Not really that relevant, but still nice to have on it as a bonus, because 5 mana, 4/4 is still pretty decent, good filler.
Yeah, it's okay filling out. That's 4/4 is going to be pretty big on the battlefield. Vigor Spore, a worm, costs 5 and a green, so for 6 mana we get a 6/4 worm with Undergrowth. When this guy enters the battlefield, we're going to have target creature gain vigilance, and +X until the end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in our graveyard. So that's cool, because when it comes in, it's going to make sure that something else can attack and will be able to block. We don't expect it to pump the power and toughness too much, but it is a nice little bonus. However, the reason why we think that this card is tier 2 is because it can't be blocked by more than 1 creature, which means that they're going to have to block it with at least something with power 4 or greater, and that is going to be something chunky. That's going to be something important that they don't want to lose, and they can't use all their smaller, less useful creatures at this stage of the game to multi-block them and get rid of it. So that means it's really, really solid, tier 2.
Yeah, or else they have to jump with something every single turn, and that's also really good for us. Plus, it also pumps up the toughness, which is really important, because normally you only pump up the power, but the toughness, which means it still survives if you pump something up.
Cool.
Siege Worm, 5 and 2 green, a 5/5 worm with Convoke and Trample, tier 2. I really like this one. Tapping all your creatures to get a 5/5 trample, I'm fine with that, especially on turn 5 or turn 4.
Yeah, think about how early this thing can come in. Turn 4, not unrealistic to get a 5/5 trampler, and that is so hard to deal with. I mean, the Vigor Spore Worm is annoying because you got a chump block, but with this guy, they can't even chump block, so they're gonna have to deal with it, and that could be game winning. So I would always include it in green.
Always, but I'm not sure which one I like more, because this one can still be chump blocked and with multiple dice.
That's true. Yeah.
So
They both have their strengths.
still
Absolutely.
really good creatures.
Definitely. Okay, those are the commons. Let's have a look at the uncommons. The first of our uncommons is Might of the Masses. For a single green, it's an instant that gives target creature +1/+1 until the end of turn for each creature we control. Okay, so this is definitely a Selesnya mechanic. Selesnya loves this kind of stuff. We've got a bunch of tokens. Nice little surprise. I think worst case scenario, you're probably going to be getting at least +3/+3, I think, in most situations. And for one green mana, that is definitely really good, with potential later in the game being much more than that.
Even worst case scenario, it being a +1/+1 or +2/+2 for 1 mana, it's not that bad.
It's still okay, yeah. Combat trick, yeah, absolutely. So good early and also good late.
Yeah. Exactly. Coral Harpooner, 1 and a green, a 3/2 insect warrior with reach, already really good. And undergrowth, when Coral Harpooner enters the battlefield, choose up to 1 target creature with flying you don't control. Coral Harpooner gets X plus X+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard, and then you may have Coral Harpooner fight that creature. So for 2 mana, it's a 3/2 with reach. And it can also just shoot any creature out of the air for 2 mana. It most likely will die. Yeah. But removal for 2 mana, I'm really fine with that. It is good as a creature, and it is removal for your bomb of your opponent. I'm up for that, tier 2.
Yeah, it's a versatility, It's not only just hitting flyers, it can also just be a really solid creature on the ground. And think about it, if you only have 1 creature in your graveyard, just 1, it will pretty much be able to kill any flyer. Because most flyers are toughness 4.
And if they have a 2/2 flyer that you don't want to kill, you don't have to.
It's not must. Yeah, very solid, very solid. Tier 2, definitely. Next, Grappling Sundew for 1 and a green. It's a 0/4 defender with reach. Here we go again with these 0 power defenders. And for 4 and a green, Grappling Sundew gains indestructible until the end of turn. Yes, it can block for days, but the problem is you're blocking, you're not doing anything, they're still attacking, you're dying, and then you're dead. And then you did nothing. So just put it aside. They'll play it.
The next one is Spouting Renewal. 2 and a green sorcery with Convoke, and you can choose 1. Create a 2/2 green and white elf knight creature token with vigilance, or destroy target artifact or enchantment. I don't think this is good enough, even with the Convoke, paying 3 mana to get a 2/2 with vigilance. Just put it aside.
Yeah, even if you pay 2 mana for it, then it's just on curve, It's not really doing anything.
But then you already, it's never on curve, because we will barely play any 1-drops.
Yeah.
So it will never be on curve.
Turn 2. Yeah, you're right. It's terrible. Not terrible. Don't play it. District Guide is next for 2 and a green. So for 3 mana, it's a 2/2. And when it enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land card or gate card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Okay, I really like this. Solid filler. Mana fixes us. Doesn't matter ramp, but still, if we're able to look for those gates as well, gonna have a couple of gates in our decks. This is actually really, really solid. And of course, that sound means that this is a solid filler card, and that we're going to be moving on to the next card.
Talking about mana ramping, Circuitous Route. 3 and a green sorcery, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and or gate cards, put them into battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. I really like this one because you can search up 2 gates and mana ramp yourself and mana fix yourself for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So tier 3, I really think this is a good card.
Very solid filler. Golgari Raiders is next for 3 and a green. It's a 0/0 elf warrior with haste, and it's going to come into the battlefield with +1/+1 counter on for each creature in your graveyard. So 4 mana is quite a lot for what I think most of the time is probably going to be like a 2/2. And if you're lucky, it might be a 3/3, but it could also just be, you could just have it in your hand and go like, oh crap, I can't do anything right now. So I think it's going to make you feel bad most of the time, so that's why I put it aside.
Yeah, but for 4 mana, 3/3 is pretty decent.
But that's like best case scenario sometimes.
Yeah, so that's why I don't like this, because like we always talk about before, like it's bad late game, it's only getting better early. It's bad early game, yeah. It's only getting better late game, but even then, is it good enough?
And you can have late games where you still only have 2 creatures in your graveyard.
Yeah, and then it feels so bad.
So terrible, yeah.
The next one is Affectionate Indrik. It's 5 and a green, a 4/4, which is pretty steep, especially for green. But when Affectionate Indrik enters the battlefield, it just wants to cuddle, and you can have it fight target creature you don't control. It doesn't know better. It tries. It's just
nice.
It tries to like give some affection to you.
It's extremely solid, being able to kill pretty much anything that you want, especially your opponent's evasions creatures.
Mana, with 4 power and toughness, it will kill a lot, and it's such a cute card.
Yeah,
I really like it.
Essentially, always play it.
Always gonna play this.
Tier 2, absolutely. Arboretum Elemental for 7 and 2 green, so that is 9 mana total. That's whopping 9 mana. We get a 7/5 hexproof Convoke. Now, what we know is, of course, in limited, people don't have lots of board wipes. What do they use to get rid of your opponent? What do people use to get rid of your bombs? And they use targeted removal. And this thing has hexproof, which means, and it's a bomb because it's a 7/5, and it's got hexproof, which means you're not getting rid of it. And the beauty of it is, you're not going to be paying 9 mana for it, because you're essentially going to be tapping your entire team to get this thing out as soon as possible. And you're going to be swinging every single turn, and they're just going to have such a hard time dealing with it, because that 5 toughness is also, they're going to have to multiple block it, like with 3 creatures probably, just to get rid of it.
Yeah, but I think you have to be wary about it, because 9 mana is a lot if you don't have the managed creatures, and that will happen. So I still think this will win you the games, but you have to be careful about it.
Yeah.
Because you still need to have those creatures and the mana.
Let's say you can cast something for, say you get 7 mana.
7 mana is still difficult. I think 6 mana is okay. 7 mana is maybe more difficult.
Okay, so 6 mana and you got 3 creatures. Yeah. I think that's realistic.
I think that's realistic, but still, scenarios will happen. I've had a lot of games where I didn't really have that many creatures on the battlefield.
It's possible, yes. So, but remember that if you can get this one to stick, it wins games.
It will do so much work.
Absolutely. All right, that is it for the uncommons. Let's have a look at the rares.
Our first rare is Pelt Collector. 1 green, it's a 1/1 elf warrior, and whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield or dies, if that creature's power is greater than Pelt Collector's, put a +1 counter on Pelt Collector. And I really like this because it also triggers when it enters the battlefield. But is it good enough? And I don't think so. And as long as Pelt Collector has 3 or more +1 counters, it has trample. I think it's a really cool card, but you need to have bigger and bigger and bigger creatures to make it do something. And I don't think it will be more than a 2/2.
No.
Most of the times.
Yeah, the problem is that if we would just say, if you would only say whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield, period, then we'd be okay. Then you can work with that. You can slowly grow it up. But the problem is the power needs to be greater. So it gets harder and harder to put a +1/+1 counter on this thing.
Exactly. I mean, and then it will be like a 4/4 but with trample, which is really cool. But if you draw it late game, it's not gonna do anything. If you draw it early game, then it's the best thing ever. But middle of the game, barely doing anything.
Yeah, you don't want cards that are only good at one point of the game. Beast Whisperer is next for 2 and 2 green. So for 4 mana, we get a 2/3 Elf Druid. And whenever you cast a creature spell, you draw a card. Okay, well, this is great, because even if somebody counters your spell, you still cast it. So you're still going to be drawing a card, and it's limited. So we want to be playing creatures. This is awesome. If you're in green, you automatically play it. Tier 2.
Because we want to play creatures, so we're gonna cast creatures, then we're gonna draw more creatures, and we cast more creatures, we're gonna even draw more. It's everything you want.
It's so beautiful, yeah.
And the body is not that bad. It's not like a 1/1 or something.
Yeah, so you actually want this one, and you want the black one, which counts whenever a non-token creature dies, you draw a card and you lose a life. And you got these two together, and then you're very happy.
Yeah, and you're gonna draw all your cards.
Super sweet.
Vivid Revival is the next one. 4 and a green is a sorcery. Return up to 3 target multicolored cards from your graveyard to your hand, and then you exile Vivid Revival. Is this really what we want to do? And I don't think it is.
No, it's just, you're just not gonna have enough targets for this.
Yeah.
Up next, Bounty of Might for 4 and 2 green. So for 6 mana, it's an instant that allows us to 3 times give a target creature +3/+3 until the end of turn. So we can give one creature +9/+9, or 3 creatures +3/+3, or 1/6 and the other +3. And of course, it's instant speed, which is what actually makes it good, because as a combat trick, it's going to be absolute blowout. And of course, later on in the game, when you attack with a bunch of different creatures, they might say, okay, I'm going to block that, that, and that. And then you say, okay, I'm going to give that one +9/+9. And even if that's a 2/2, that's 11 damage. And that might be enough just to finish the game off.
It's at least 10 damage if you have a blocked thing. But the thing is, with these kind of things, even...
You still need the creatures, you still need to be able to attack.
Creatures, yeah. It's still a 6 mana, so this couple hoops, I think you always want to play this, but on its own, it's not going to win you the games.
No.
It will most likely win a lot of games, though.
But it won't do it by itself.
Yeah.
And that's why it's tier 2.
That's why it's tier 2.
Yeah.
Still always going to play this card.
Nice.
Hatchery Spider. 5 and 2 green for 7 mana with a 5/7 spider with reach, which is the biggest thing. In the air, on the ground, it's gonna block everything, gonna kill everything. And on the ground, when you cast this spell, reveal the top X cards from your library, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard, and we put a green permanent cards with confirmed mana cost X or less in among them on the battlefield. Put the rest on bottom of your library in a random order. Most likely it will give you a 2/2, well actually probably not even, but
No.
even without the ability, it's a 5/7 with reach for 7. I think I really like this one. And the other ability is only bonus.
Yeah. Just ignore the undergrowth part. It's just solid.
It is still a really solid card, and I always want to see this.
Absolutely. That's a great. All right. That is it for the rares. Let's have a look at the mythic. Our only green mythic is Nullhide Ferox for 2 and 2 green. So for 4 mana, it is a 6/6 hexproof. So that is amazing. We already talked about how unlimited, how powerful it is to have a big creature with hexproof, because it's so hard to deal with. Additionally, though, we cannot cast non-creature spells. Obviously, this thing's coming in so early, costs so little. It's got to be a downside. We are going to have more creature spells than we have non-creature spells, so we can still keep on playing those creatures after that. However, we can choose to pay 2 mana and then have it. I'm saying we could. I was going to get to it. We could choose to pay 2 mana and then make sure that we are able to play non-creature spells, because Nullhide Ferox will lose all of its abilities. The downside of that is, of course, our opponents can also do that, which means that they could pay the 2 mana premium over their removal spell to kill our Nullhide Ferox. So, and then the final thing that it also has is, should an ability or effect or spell of our opponents make us discard this card from our hand, then actually we just put it on the battlefield. So, I mean, the chance of that happening, very unlikely. However, the main takeaway from this is it's a 6/6 hexproof for super cheap, and people are going to have to jump through a little bit of a hoop to get rid of it. And then afterwards, we're just going to be playing our non-creature spells again. So it doesn't even matter. This thing will win games by itself.
Yeah, and I think it's also really important to think about the extra 2 mana, because of the unconditional removal 6 damage on the red spell. It's really, really difficult, which means the 2 extra mana might be very relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and the art looks super brutal. Look at that thing. That
it does.
Coming in to kick some butt. All right, that is it for the green cards. Let's have a look at the conclusion.
In conclusion, I'm actually kind of disappointed in green, because normally you expect those really cheap creatures that are big, but we don't really have those. What we do have is the top end of a curve, which is really big, and I'm never sad to see a good bomb. We have some mana fixing, which we really need, which I really need. So I think green is a really good support color.
Yeah. I'm also actually far more disappointed in green than I usually am. I usually think that for limited, I always enjoy green very much because of the fact that it's got undercosted creatures for their power and toughness. This case, only, as Stefan said, only the 6, 7, 8, 9 converted mana cost creatures actually count in green, which means that for me, including the ability to mana fix in this color, I think it's going to be the third color that I'll be including in my 2 colors when I'm going to be playing. So yeah, not that great, huh?
No, but I think it's still pretty decent. We had some with the Qual Harpooner, so that's really nice because it's still a bit damage affectionate in deck, so it also has some removal that we don't really have in green.
Now, of course, there are good cards in
Yeah.
green, no doubt, but I'm just saying that it doesn't have as many good cards as the other colors so far.
I think so too. I think it's one of the weaker ones.
Yeah. All right. Then now we'd like to ask you guys to head on over to patreon.com/budgetmtgdecks and consider becoming a patron of the program and help us make more of these videos. And of course, we'd like to thank everybody who helps us make these videos who already are patrons. So thank you very much for that. Also join us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, the socials as we call it, where you can talk to us and we can share pictures and let you guys know when new videos come out, so we can always have discussions over there. Also, subscribe to us here on YouTube for the most powerful decks and device everyone can afford. And if you do, don't forget to hit that little bell button because then you'll be notified when new videos come out. And that is obviously very important because you want to be the first in the know. That's it. Thanks for watching. I'm David.
I'm Stefan.
And this was Budget MTG Decks.